Money Moves with Myth 2.0, the podcast. And always remember, gentlemen, it's a motherfucking movie. So today we have yet another video of a gentleman saying the truth about working a 9 to 5. So we're gonna be reacting to this video today. If you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and let's hop straight into the content.
Some people have expressed how the 9 to 5 grind culture is not worth it. Some people even say they can spend a week in hell. It would take them even longer to realize that they're not at work, because when they're at work, they feel like they're in hell, right? Think about how it feels to not have money. I know for me personally, when I'm broke, I feel sick. I'm not fortunate enough to not work and have things situated, have things in order. Growing up, I used to hear stuff like, you don't work, you don't eat, don't be a bum, a big unorganized man. Basically, your life is all over the place. You got scattered thoughts, scattered decision making, and your life is scattered, right? You don't have anything organized. I remember the times when I struggled. I remember the times when I didn't have money. I remember the times when people around me had certain things. Now, we are not supposed to compare, but when we're talking simple things like buying a meal from a fast food restaurant, and this is years ago when meals were like $4, $3 for a meal. If I didn't have a few dollars, that would do something to me. But people around me who had the luxury to buy food, they also had jobs. It wasn't necessarily that they was getting money from their parents, but even if they were, they got money from their parents because their parents did what? They probably had a job. They was bringing home resources. They had some type of income.
So how do you guys feel about the video so far? Have you ever been in a situation, where a meal was about, $6, $7? I've been there. And, people and other people had the means of getting this meal and even getting two or three meals, and me coming from a poorer, you know, family unit, um, I didn't have any inheritance. I don't have any inheritance. I didn't have any, means of, resources. 9 times out of 10, if I needed money, not my parents probably didn't even have it, you know. So what I learned personally, you know, is that working a job and learning to manage money is very beneficial, And I like where he's going with his breakdown, like a lot of people, parents, you know, who, they was fortunate enough to have great careers, they put back money, and stuff, and they also work jobs probably, and you know, but now we got a bunch of able-bodied people, who are saying no to working 9 to 5s. You know, let's keep it moving.
So for me, if I couldn't buy myself a pair of shoes or a shirt, some pants, something to put on, get a haircut, that made me feel bad. Not only did I look bad, it made me feel bad. I felt less than. I didn't feel like I was competent enough to handle little things in life for myself, let alone pay a phone bill or buy a car. I had no drive or thoughts of doing that because I didn't have.
And these are facts. Like most of the time, like when you see people who say they don't want to work a 9 to 5, they don't want to work a job. A lot of times, these guys never learn how to build credit. They never learn how to manage money. So you see them when they do get a vehicle. If they're lucky enough to get a vehicle, they're just scraping by, meaning that they get a vehicle that's used, probably 10, 20 years older, where they pay two, three, $4,000 for it down, you know, but there you never see them, you know, um 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 making a better example in life. You know, these is for the people who have nothing else. That's what I'm saying. Like, how can you not want to work a 9 to 5 if you have nothing else? You have no other means of income. So, and like he said, like when I'm broke, like I can't just sit around a house. Like I got 3 kids. Like personally, I got 3 kids. I got a wife. Like what is gonna look like, my kids looking up to me, and I'm saying, oh, I hate working a 9 to 5, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, no, this it's not gonna work like that. And you're gonna end up having your kids having to struggle, you know, when they get older. But let's keep it moving.
Have any money. But once I got a job, I realized that yes, you're going to deal with people at your job. You're going to have coworkers who are there just to cause drama. You got the coworkers that think they're the boss. You got coworkers that are manipulative. They gossip. They talk about you. They talk about other people to you. So when
And this is why I tell people that it's good when you're working a 9 to 5 to learn how to be silent. Let people talk. Let him be the boss. If a coworker want to be the boss, yes sir. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, he's not cutting my check. You know,
you're not around, they talk about you to other people. The list goes on. I had to put it in my mind that I was not at work to have friends.
facts.
Even though get along, play along culture in work can oftentimes feel fake, it didn't feel the same as when I didn't have money. When I was struggling, that feeling that I had was far greater than the feeling of dealing with people at work that I don't necessarily like or don't like me. I was there for the money. And if you can find yourself feeling like your job doesn't align with your values, you have to make sure it's not internal. You're at a job for money. You're using that money to do things outside of your job that's more beneficial for your life than what's going on at the job.
The facts. So, like, we're gonna say for instance, like I was making close to 70K a year. You know, and a lot of people will be like, "Oh man, you can't get rich from working a job. You can't do this. You can't do that." You know, and in reality, like if you don't have nothing else, you're making way more money than most people because most people do not want to work, and a lot of people don't have people skills. Meaning that, like, in a lot of times in the black community, a lot of times when you get on jobs, you gonna, especially in the black community, you're gonna have the dude who think he the boss, or the female, who, oh, I've been here, I got some rank and stuff like that, and let them be the boss. If they want to be the boss, if they want to feel good, don't come up there, let people say what they say. It doesn't have anything to do with you. People are saying things, they're not your friends. You might end up meeting people that you can communicate with, but if you're always emotional on the job, then 9 times out of 10, you're gonna end up not there very long because you can't handle um people's rights to freedom of speech. That doesn't mean you go up there trying to be the boss. That don't mean you go up on the job just saying whatever and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just you being humble. And a lot of people need to learn that word, humble. But let's keep it moving.
People that just coincidentally, I mean, you can't control that. They just so happen to work at the job alongside you. They're your co-workers. You can only decide what you do to put yourself in a position to get hired. You're not there to decide who else gets hired to work in the same work environment that you work in. So it's certain things you have to think about. I'm going to put the money first. I'm not worried about people. Most of the time, people are not going to touch you. They're just going to talk about you. We got to have thick skin. I know this is going to rub a lot of people wrong, but everybody can't just quit their job and be okay out here in this world.
Facts. And a lot of people who be talking about quitting their jobs and they don't want to work a 9 to 5 or be the main people who need their 9 to 5 and need a matter of fact a 6 to 6, a 12 hour. You know, you might need a 10-12. You might need to work that 9 to 5 and do some little side cutting grass and stuff at the same time. You know, um, yeah, a lot of people are especially in the black community, very, you know, we're some of the most sensitive and emotional people than ever. I don't know what happened, you know, because it wasn't like this, but now in 2025 we're very sensitive. But let's keep it moving.
Okay? I'm not watching nobody pockets, but what I do see is a lot of people struggling once they quit that job. Whatever plans you have, you want to be an entrepreneur, business owner, you want to be a content creator, I would keep my job while doing any of those things.
Facts.
Why? Because
And just to motivate you, I created this YouTube channel. If you guys go back like a couple years when I first created this YouTube channel, every video I shot like 2 or 3 videos a day, was when I was at work. Like, and I'm still not making $100,000 a year. I'm still not even making 10. I'm at $100,000 a month. I'm not making $10,000 a month. I'm not making your own content creation yet. You know, a lot of people be thinking they're gonna get on content creation and just blow. Nah, it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some hard work, bro. Let's keep it moving.
the income is going to help drive that project even further. And you're going to have a peace of mind knowing that you don't have to worry about paying rent or buying food or all the other luxuries that you have or the necessities that you have within your life. You know, everybody is different. Everybody doing things on their own term, doing things in their own way. But that income is going to help you get through those moments while you still put effort into whatever project it is. You're going to have to work that job until you've earned the right to use the money that you should have been saving because you're disciplined, because you have a plan, because you're focused, to put towards something that's going to put you in a better position. Use a job to put yourself in a better position. I don't give a damn if it's a warehouse job, you're working at a school, you're a janitor, you're working at a boys and girls club, a fast food restaurant, you're a teacher, you're working at a theme park, you're working at wherever you are working, wherever you are exchanging time for money. Make sure you allocate some of those funds towards something that's going to be able to give you that time back. Or, worst case scenario, you can go part-time with that same job.
So, what do you guys think, guys? Is this dude really cooking? You know, I think he's cooking, but let me know what you guys think on the topic. This dude is a content creator. His link gonna be in the description below, and I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe. I'm holler at you guys next time.